Another Sunday in our COVID era, and we hear, I don't know if you've heard, about a petition to remove a statue, or a few statues, of Mahatma Gandhi. There's a petition in the UK, there's a petition in Ghana, in California. Petitions are sprouting up to remove the statue of Mahatma Gandhi. And I know the one in the UK has over 5,000 signatures. And if you don't know why, you may be asking, why are they saying we should remove the statue of Mahatma Gandhi? And the reason is that some new research has shown, there's a new book coming out, that Gandhi might have been a racist. He did not fight for the rights of blacks in Africa like he did for the Indians. And there are many quotes taken from his letters and his writings that paint a picture of Gandhi as complicit in the British rule over African natives. So the question we have to ask ourselves, is it true? Should we take down the statue of Gandhi's statue? And the honest truth for me is I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. I'm not here to debate whether a statue should come down or not. I do know one thing. History will have no heroes if you look deep enough. History will have no heroes if you look deep enough. The truth is, no one is perfect. In Gandhi's autobiography, he points to the fact that he is a man that has made mistakes, and he was not always right. He was trying to do what he could. And I don't know the intentions of those who are trying to take down the statue of Gandhi, but it reminds me of the Pharisees, who argued with Jesus Christ. The Pharisees were what we call moralists. Moralists are intent on one thing. They want to, follow the moral law, but they actually want to impose it on others. Moralists are looking at, are you following the moral law? The Pharisees were those type of people, calling out the faults of others in strict adherence to their interpretation of the law. Luke chapter 7, verse 39. Now when the Pharisees had invited Jesus, saw this, he said to himself, the Pharisee invited him. There was a Pharisee that invites Jesus to his house to eat, and he sees a woman come and wash Jesus' feet. And the Pharisee says to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know who and what sort of person this woman is, and who is touching him, that she is a sinner. The Pharisee who invited Jesus into his home, what does he do? He judges the woman. Matthew chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his disciples were hungry, and began to pick the heads of grain and eat. But when the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, look, your disciples do what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath. These Pharisees are looking at others and saying, you're not following the law. In Luke chapter 18, the Pharisee stood and prayed thus to himself, God, I thank you that I am not like the other men, the extortioners, the unjust, the adulterers, or even the tax collector. In John chapter 8, they tell Jesus, teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded that she should be stoned. What do you say? And what did Jesus say? When he was presented with this very difficult situation, the Pharisees brought out a woman who had committed adultery, who was in sin, and the law says that she should be stoned to death. And they asked Jesus, what should we do? What should we do? And what is Jesus' answer? He says, he who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first. He who is without sin, you throw the first stone. So they all have to then take a step back and wait. Am I the one who has no sin? And they go away, right? And Jesus looks up and sees that no one is there and tells the woman, go and sin no more. Christians are called to emulate Jesus. Did Jesus judge anyone? No. Jesus saw the people where they were at and tried to give them the medicine of life that they needed. But the Pharisees, people like ourselves, we look at, we are trying to be moral, but when we judge others, and we say, oh, that person's not doing the right thing. Jesus says, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. That was Luke chapter 6, verse 37. And we need to be careful not to act like the Pharisees who judge and tear down people. We are called to be like Christ, who sees every person as one who is what? Worth dying for. Jesus saw every single person, even the Pharisees that were judging people, even the people who were criminal, people who were doing terrible things to other people. Jesus saw them and saw what? Someone worth dying for. The truth is that none of us are worth Jesus Christ's death. None of us are perfect. Gandhi is not perfect. You are not perfect. I am not perfect. The honest truth is that we are called to be mature Christians. Mature Christians have to grow up. Now, one of the standard phases in child development is a change in children. Children grow up idolizing their parents, right? I can see my children and they think that I am a superhero. When children are young, they see their parents as superheroes. Then what happens? Standard child psychology. As the child goes into teenage years, they start to see something. Their eyes are open a little bit more and they start to see, you know what? My parents aren't that great. They start to see flaws in their parents. They start to see, Dad, well, the way he did that was terrible. Or Mom, she got angry a little bit too fast. That's not nice. And then we start to, because we look at everything as black or white at this age, we see and go, they're not good. And so the parent who was the superhero becomes the what? The villain. The villain. The parent becomes the villain because all we can see is black or white. All we can see, if they have flaws, it shows. It shows that there's some problem. But part of that transition is due to the fact that the child's eyes are not fully open. And until they grow out of the teenage years, they realize that the world isn't necessarily just black or white. More importantly, hopefully, they realize as they go out into the world their own flaws. Children grow up and realize their own flaws, and when they realize their own flaws, what happens? They see with compassion their parents in a new light. We start off seeing the flaws and failings of our parents, seeing our parents' failings make us angry with them, angry at the world. Thus teenagers argue and rage against their imperfect parents. They rage against them because teenagers wish that their parents were perfect. The only parent that is perfect is God, our Heavenly Father. Each and every one of us is imperfect. So we can be mad that Gandhi might be a racist. Or we can see him with compassion and realize how he struggled and how his struggle in face of so much difficulty is something that is good. The only way we can appreciate the struggles of others is if we realize our own struggle. That we see and reflect God's face in us. So my message for you today, 3 things. Realize that everyone is a sinner. No one is perfect except the one human who is also God. Jesus Christ. He's the only one that's perfect. 2, focus not on the sins of others. That's what the Pharisees did. But rather focus on your own sins. Because when you focus on your own sins, you're filled with compassion for others. 3, put your trust in God because he is perfect and he won't let you down. All glory and honor to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, one God.